Hello everyone, welcome back to my garage. In today's episode we have a very popular engine choice. It's a diesel again. This is a 1.9 liter TDI Volkswagen diesel. Now, it might not exactly line up with the stats of a 1.9 liter TDI Volkswagen diesel, but the point of my videos is to get the authentic-ish sound and overall torque and horsepower numbers right around within a margin of error the actual engine's output. I understand that some people might not like this if this is off-putting to you. Hey, this video isn't for you. Let me know in the comments. But in this current build of automation, there are no diesels. There's only gasoline engines. So I kind of have to play around with the settings to get the sound that we want. So that's why the numbers aren't going to match up and the stats aren't going to match up. It's just nature of the beast. This is what we have to work with in this game, but we can still have a lot of fun with it and hope, with our fingers crossed, that eventually they're going to put diesels in this game, and I think they will. I think there's enough outcrying in the community where people are making enough noise that they're going to eventually add diesels to this game, and that'll be great. But for the time being, this is what I have for you today. It is the 1.9 liter TDI Volkswagen diesel. Extremely popular, very requested. I mean, there were tons of comments in the last video about making one of these engines, and I understand why. I mean, they're extremely fuel efficient, they're cool as all get out. I mean, just awesome. And that's what this is all about, creating something that you can make in your own automation game and then import into BeamNG so you can play around with your little Volkswagens and rip around the racetracks. So let's get right into this. I'm going to first off let you listen to what it sounds like, because I feel like that's the most important thing. Does it sound like a diesel? Alright, well if it does, then this is something you might want to do. So here we go. I'm going to do a little manual engine test. So there you have it. I think it sounds pretty similar to what a 1.9 sounds like. I can't get it perfect, but this is just playing around, trying to see what we can get and to have a little fun in this game. So let's go ahead and get into the stats so that you can recreate this in your version of automation. So to start things off, we have an inline 4 cast iron block. Family capacity, I went with 3.431 and 4.575. Now, these numbers aren't extremely important. I think you could change these a little bit and get a similar sound, but this is what I played with, and this is how I got a fairly decent sound. So take this with a grain of salt. You could probably change this and get what you want specifically. Now, head and valves, I went with push rod. I understand that some of the versions had push rod, some of them had overhead cams, but the push rod gave me that sound I was looking for, kind of that mechanical sound. And then I went with a cast iron head and no VVL. Over into the crank, cast iron. Con rods are cast, pistons are cast, and with our variant capacity, I went with 3.175 and 4.575. Quality, I don't think that really matters that much, but we went with 15 on this one. Compression, this is extremely important for getting that sound. I messed around with this for hours and I just couldn't get it dialed in correctly. But then I said, screw it, I'm gonna max out compression and see what I get. And I brought our cam profile down to 22. That seemed to be the sweet spot. That's what gives you good sound. No VVT and quality at 15. Of course, this is a turbocharged engine. That's the whole point of this, to hear a little bit of that compressor spool. So we've got our turbocharger. We went with a single turbo because there is no twin turbo option. We went with a ball bearing turbo. It's got a little bit more of that sound. For whatever reason, it allows a little bit more sound through the compressor and through the exhaust, and you get a very nice sound out of it. For an intercooler, this is important too. I went with 181 horsepower. It keeps the engine nice and cool. I went with a race preset. And for our compressor, I went with a 2.75 inch, and turbine I went with 2.68 inch. AR ratio is 1.10. Max boost I went with 19.6. Quality 15. Our fuel system went with injection, direct injection per cylinder. I went with a race intake. That's another very important part of this project because it allows all that sound to come out and you can really hear it. Fuel type I went with ultimate. Fuel mixture, we're pretty high up there, close to rich. We're at 11.1. Ignition timing is at 50. RPM limit I went with 4,000. I know that's not entirely accurate with all models of the TDI, but I felt like it gave it a nice rev range and it sounds really nice when it's bouncing off the rev limiter. Quality at 15 again. For exhaust, we have no other option besides short cast, single exhaust. I went with a bypass valve. Exhaust diameter is 3.25. For catalytic converter, I went with a 3-way. First muffler, I went with baffled. Second muffler, I went with baffled. Quality at 15. And I feel like this gives you the optimal output in terms of how much noise it makes without being overly loud. Quality at 15. Alright guys, so there you have it. This is my 1.9 liter TDI diesel, and I think it sounds pretty accurate. If you like this, please give me a thumbs up and leave me a comment, and tell me what you want to see in the future. I love doing these little projects. These are fun, and eventually I want to start putting these in cars and then slapping these into Beam MG so we can play around on the test tracks. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will catch you all in the next video.